It's a food with a long list of health benefits. It's known as King, Coho, Sockeye, and Chinook. I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein, and it should be in your diet. Therefore, you should have recipes to feature it. I'm hooked on salmon today on Souffle Taste. How fun is that? Welcome all, I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein and welcome to the Goya Kitchen at Junior Achievement of South Florida here in Northwest Broward County. Do you like salmon? Well, you should. It's thought that eating salmon might reduce inflammation, lower cholesterol, maintain blood pressure, and even reduce heart disease. Wow, that's some talented fish. So if that list is even half right, we need to get salmon into our diet. So let's get cooking and preparing. And I say that because our first dish is tartar of salmon, which I adore. Now the first thing I always do when I'm making any type of tartar is I actually freeze the fish. That makes sure that there's nothing going on in there, it's perfectly clean and safe to eat raw. So I've already done that, and I small diced my fish like so. This is about a 1/4 inch dice, but you can cut it as big or as small as you like. Now normally I would be placing this bowl sitting on a bowl of ice. That's how I always keep it nice and cold before I toss everything in. But for today, right now, I'm just gonna put it back in the fridge. All right, so we're gonna get into all the delicious flavors. Normally I would do something that's more olive oil based, but today I'm gonna make you something that I learned in Hawaii. So, it's kind of like a poke. This is Japanese mayonnaise in this bowl. I'm gonna make a lot of this sauce, but we're only gonna use a small amount. To this Japanese mayonnaise, I'll add a little bit of reduced sodium soy sauce. By the way, this sauce can be kept in your fridge and you can use it on all kinds of stuff. It'll be a delicious dipping sauce later. And this is yuzu. Yuzu is a Japanese citrus. It is amazing. It is expensive. Don't use too much. This bottle will take you very, very far. Add a little bit to your lemonade. You won't believe how good it is. Just a little touch we're gonna start with, and let's give that a good little mix. You can make your tartar spicy if you'd like to by adding fresh chilies or of course chili oil. That's always delicious as well. Let's give that a little taste. I think I'm gonna stop there. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is peel some ginger. I'm gonna take a spoon, because it's my favorite way to peel ginger, and you basically just goes around those grooves really easily, because you know ginger is really kind of bumpy, and so it will easily go around all the funny little knots that ginger has. There we go, nice and clean. Next we're going to take a microplane, and I'm just going to microplane the ginger like so. I'm keeping it up so I can see how much ginger I've already microplaned or grated. You can also use pickled ginger. It's also delicious. All right, so now that we have our ginger cut, the last thing I'm gonna do is cut some scallions. I like the white part and the green part, so let's go ahead first. The white is what I'm gonna mix into the salmon itself. Really nice and thin rounds. I think that should probably be enough. Now you can use little dice of cucumbers, which I do with my son a lot because he loves salmon tartar. It's really up to you. And then for a topping, I'm just gonna take some of the tops of the scallions and julienne them. Now if you were to place this in ice water, it would get all beautiful and curly. All right, so next, let's go ahead and grab our salmon back. You always want this to be really, really cold. It's really important for tartar to always be cold. And let's find a nice place to put it on. I love tartar personally with potato chips, so I'm gonna be serving it next to some chips today. So let's go ahead and add not a huge amount of that sauce, a little bit of the ginger that we microplaned, like so, some of the whites of the scallions, a little bit of some sea salt, and go ahead and mix that together. I'm going to add a little tiny dribble of soy to this, and this would be the chance to add a little chili oil if you wanted it to be spicy. And let's go ahead and put it into our mold. Now, if you don't have one of these, which I know a lot of people don't, doesn't matter. Go ahead and put this into a little bowl and put another bowl of chips right next to it, and I'm sure you're going to have a lot of takers. Some nice little julienne scallions right over the top, like so. And then finally, some good old-fashioned potato chips right next to it for getting in there and getting dirty. Come right back, because I've got more for the gifted salmon.
Come back to SoFlo Taste from the Goya Kitchen at Junior Achievement of South Florida.
After the food, it's SoFlo Home Project, next on Local 10.
Hi, I'm Melinda Harper for SoFlo Taste in Miami Gardens at Pollo Campero, where they're celebrating their 100th restaurant opening. We're going to head inside to see what all the excitement's about and to have a taste.
3, 2, 1, go!
And we are joined by LJ Rodas, head of Pollo Campero USA, and he's here to tell us all about this wonderful Guatemalan restaurant and what we're doing here today.
Yeah, thank you. So, Pollo Campero was born in Guatemala in 1971, but it was until 2002 when we first opened our first restaurant in Los Angeles, California, here in the US. And since then, it has been a brand that has been growing a lot. Today, we are celebrating 100 stores.
So, LJ, tell us what you typically serve at the restaurant.
So what makes us very famous, is our fried traditional chicken. But we also have grilled chicken. The grilled chicken is growing like crazy. I mean, it's doing fantastic. But we also have nuggets. Then we also have chicken sandwich, spicy and regular. And then we have quite a few options to combine different kind of sides.
What sets your chicken apart, though? I hear that your chicken is different from other chicken.
And you are hitting what is true.
Yes.
So, a couple of things. One, everything is freshly made. We don't use frozen chicken, that's one. Two, every single piece of chicken is injected with our own flavor. So every single piece of chicken has the flavor inside the meat.
So I love the variety of foods that you have here. And I also noticed you have some yummy empanadas.
People love them as an appetizer, and some also as another option as a side.
Aside from all the authentic food that you serve here, you've got some really special drinks.
These are authentic drinks that you will not find anywhere else. So you have horchata. We also have mango. It's very fresh.
When you cut into it, I can hear
Actually,
how juicy it is. That's so good. That flavor, it's through and through. It doesn't stop. You really do have to try this for yourself.
We have 100 stores all across the country, so come visit us. We also do delivery. You can order online through our app. We have drive-thrus, and we are waiting for you and to enjoy this amazing chicken.
Enjoy every bite. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome back to SoFlo Taste, all about beautiful salmon. So, the next dish we are going to make is a broiled salmon, and it is a recipe that they make a lot in Japan, and it's very simple, but if you do it right, it will be so perfect you won't believe it. Now, it's funny, I always thought I'd like salmon a good rare to medium rare, until I ate the salmon, and it just, the simplicity blew me away, and you can taste the freshness of the salmon. Speaking of freshness, of course, the boys over at Delaware Chicken Farm and girls and Seafood Market have all kinds of proteins. I got this salmon there, but they have absolutely everything. You can pick up your order at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood. Call them at 954-983-6831. Just place an order with them. They're so lovely. Make sure you tell them Michelle sent you. All right, so this is what you do. You take a little bit of sake. Sake is rice wine, not vinegar, rice wine. You can drink it, or you can use it for marinades. Here, I'm just gonna add a tiny little bit to our salmon. Go ahead and make sure that all parts have touched the sake. And I always keep my sake in the fridge, just so you know. So I can sip it cold, and I can use it for cooking. Okay. Next, you take a paper towel and you dry the salmon, but you don't want to take away all of the sake. So you're basically just kind of patting it dry, not getting rid of all of this delicious sake that you've used for the salmon. Then you take approximately 3% of the weight of your fish in salt. This weighs approximately 12 ounces. It would be about 1.5 tablespoons is what it equals out to. So 3% of the fish. Flip it over and then go ahead and add the rest. And then the last thing you do is you put it into a small container just like this one, completely lined with paper towels. You lay the salmon onto it, you cover it, and you put it into your fridge. I like this for a good 2 full days, about 48 hours. And in between, every like 12 hours, I remove the paper towel, I flip the salmon over and put fresh paper towel so that it really dries beautifully well. These two have been drying in my fridge for 2 days, and I think it's gonna be ready to go and beautiful. So you want it really nice and dry. I have a little cookie sheet or sheet pan lined with some foil. I'm gonna go ahead and place the salmon skin side up onto the foil. Let's go ahead and do 3 of them. And you see that I didn't cut the fish too big. It's really all about getting the skin crispy and broiling and keeping it nice and dry and crisp. And it's amazing how the salt brings out the freshness in this fish. It's just really amazing to me. So we are gonna broil this for about 3 minutes, and then we're gonna flip it over and broil it for another 3. This method has you cook the salmon all the way through. It gets really crispy on the outside, but it stays beautifully creamy on the inside, even though it's fully cooked. Come right back and we'll check out how this one turned out, and we can start our next dish. By the way, the last one I'm making you became a little bit well known in a magazine recently, so I can't wait to show it to you. Come back for one more lesson from my School of Salmon here on SoFlo Taste. We'll see what's cooking on SoFlo Taste right after this. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. We're here at Junior Achievement of South Florida and Coconut Creek, a creative place for our children and their education. For more information, visit jsouthflorida.org. Now back to some more recipes to get you hooked on salmon. So let's check on our Japanese style salmon. Oh yeah, how pretty that is. Ah, gorgeous. So let's go ahead and serve this beauty. I love serving it with a little bit of Japanese rice, toasted sesame seeds, and this is some pickled daikon, which I love. Daikon's a radish. It's that really big white one. I believe it has a little turmeric in there. That's why the color is so beautifully bright. So we would normally serve just 1 piece of this. along with the rice and the daikon like so. You can serve it with a little soy, whatever it is that you like. Remember, it does have the salt that we got started with, but it is just a beautiful, clean recipe, and I adore it. Recently, I was in a magazine for another fish dish that I created, and it is a fish that I poached in coconut milk. So I thought it would be kind of interesting to do that same recipe here today with our gorgeous salmon. First thing we're gonna do is heat some coconut oil, which is definitely going to impart a little bit of flavor. Anytime you use a coconut product, you're always gonna have a slight essence of coconut, which I think would be pretty nice. To that, we are adding some very tiny minced shallots, some fresh garlic, 1 star anise. I already microplaned a little bit of fresh ginger in here. And let me teach you how to cut lemongrass. So this is normally how lemongrass comes. Some markets sell it to you cut right about here so you don't have to see the top of it. Now the best way to get the most out of your lemongrass is to take the dull side of the knife and just start hitting it a little bit delicately. It really starts breaking it apart. And then you can just take the top off. This is more bitter. You don't want to use this part. And some of these more green leaves will peel right off. This is great for marinating. I use this part of the stock a lot, or you can put it in some sugar and it'll be lemongrass sugar, which is really delicious, but you don't want to necessarily eat it. But this beautiful part, we're going to go ahead and chop up. Not using too much because it can be a little overwhelming if you add too much. Cut it up as small as we've cut up our shallots, garlic, and ginger. Okay, let's go ahead and add that to the pan. Now, you don't want to allow anything to over caramelize in here because a lot of these ingredients can get bitter. If you burn lemongrass or ginger, not too nice. So we are cooking the salmon in coconut milk, like I said. So I'm going to pour the coconut milk right in to all of these beautiful aromatics. So let's go ahead and warm this all the way through. We're going to need a little bit of lime zest. So let's go ahead and zest a lime. A lot of times if you can't find lemongrass, by the way, people use lemon zest in its place. So you can use a little lemon zest and lime zest if you want to in your recipe. So we're gonna go ahead and add a nice amount of kosher salt and a little bit of either red crushed chili flake or Aleppo, whatever your favorite dried chili would be. You can even add ancho powder if you wanted to. Finally, we're gonna go ahead and add our salmon. These are the same fillet of salmon that I got from the whole side of salmon that I've been using all day today, but we took the skin off of these because I think the skin is just going to get kind of soggy instead of crispy, so I'm not going to use the skin for this. Go ahead and place them in. And what you'll do delicately using that fish spatula I had earlier, and what I'm going to do is every so often I will not only baste, but I will also flip the salmon over and then over again to make sure that it poaches all the way around. So begin basting the salmon. Keep the temperature about a medium temperature and start basting. And it's so great because you'll see all these beautiful little bits of the ginger and the garlic and the shallot all over. And it's just going to be delicious. The last thing I like to do before the fish is ready, you can take either kale or spinach. This is spinach, just lightly chopped, very roughly. And we're going to add some spinach into the coconut milk, and it will wilt. And that way we have a beautiful vegetable to serve with our salmon when it's ready. This should only take a couple of minutes, so come right back so we can serve this together. SoFlo Taste will return right after this. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste and all about salmon. Wow, we did a lot today, I feel, with that beautiful side of salmon. So I poached my salmon, as you know, in aromatics and coconut milk. One thing I need to make sure you know, you need to take that little piece of star anise out of your pan, please, because that would be quite a crunch for you to get in there. So take this out. And then finally, you want to spoon the spinach and the creamy coconut over, and make sure you serve some lime wedges right next to the fish because it makes it even more delicious. Lastly, I think it would be great for you to add a little bit of mint and basil just over the fish. It would add some freshness and, as always, a little bit of beauty because fresh herbs always do the trick. There we have it. Gorgeous. Is it as nice as it was in the magazine? I don't know, but it's pretty good. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Our time together is important to me, and I hope it's important and informative to you. Salmon is one of the good guys when it comes to eating healthy, and luckily it's delicious. Now let's check in with our talented pal, Lena Capra, to see what she's got coming up on SoFlo Home Project. Hey, Lena.
Hi, Michelle. Good morning. So today we are helping to get your home ready to sell with some clever home staging ideas. Coming up on SoFlo Home Project, we have expert advice on the do's and don'ts of home staging.
Okay, Ms. Capra, thanks. We'll stay right here. This will be our last show here at Junior Achievement of South Florida. The crew and I just want to thank everyone here for being so welcoming. We have made good friends. But don't worry, I'll see you here next week. Thank you, Taste Buds. Goodbye, mwah, and good taste. Salmon says,